Welcome to the Hunt, Fish, Travel Podcast, the first and longest running female hosted hunting podcast. Fresh off the ATA train and gearing up for sturgeon spearing, she's helping you navigate your trip of a lifetime. And now, here's your hostess, Carrie Zilka.
This episode is brought to you by Cryptic, Kryptek. I am in love with their new camo. I wore the Highlander bib overalls and coat while I was hunting down in Illinois and up in Wisconsin. And I can't wait to wear it this year in the cold weather because it really kept me super warm and I love the Highlander pattern. So it's brought to you by Real Avid. Check out Real Avid for all of your gun needs. They have a wonderful shotgun tool as well as lots of AR accessories. So if you're into guns, check out realavid.com.
Welcome to the Hunt, Fish, Travel Podcast. I am your hostess, Carrie Zilka, and I am super excited to have on the line the Canada Huntress. I do believe this is the first time I've ever interviewed someone from Canada, and if you're going to do it, let's do it right and have somebody as awesome as Nikita Dalke on, who, she went to Spain to hunt Ibex. Like, how freaking epic is that? And we are going to hear all about it. Nikita, welcome to the show.
Thanks for having me.
Why don't you tell the listeners a little more about yourself? Why don't you tell them how you got into hunting, and are you a Canadian native?
Yeah, I grew up in Canada. I live in BC. I grew up with a family that hunts. My parents don't hunt, but my grandparents and all my uncles do. My Nana is actually the only woman hunter besides myself in the family. And she used to take me out when I was little, and I'd help her with her deer and stuff. And every time they'd get an elk or anything, it was like a big family get together, and so it was like a big celebration kind of thing. But I never actually started hunting until I met my husband 12 years ago. So,
what was the first species that you went hunting?
Whitetail. I got a nice little 4-point basket buck. Well, for us, we call them 4 points, but I guess down in the States, they'd be a 4x4.
You have quite the following on Twitter. Everybody who is listening on Twitter, you should go follow her at Canada Huntress. You've done quite well for yourself. Your tweets are really great. They're just always on point. They are. And how long have you had the Canada Huntress moniker?
Couple years now. When did I start that? Yeah, I started it when I started using Twitter, so it's probably been 2 years,
okay.
2-3 years maybe. Yeah, and then I've just kind of grown with that, and I use it on everything now.
Well, and that was going to be did you start it and be with the intention of doing a blog and stuff, or was it just
I do have a personal blog. It's not under Canada Huntress, but I started using that, and then I don't know, I just thought on Twitter when I'd make my handle, I was like, I'll use Canada because I'm in Canada, and then people know I'm up there because a lot of people think I'm from the States. And then I'll just use Huntress and see if it's available, and it was, and I've just kind of ran with that. So
good deal. Nothing wrong with that. What is your goal as the Canada Huntress? Would you like to have a TV show someday, or just you're happy with blogging and hunting with the family?
I would like to get more involved with women and youth. Right now, I am part of a TV show, and we will be launching our first episode on Generation 7 Outdoors in April.
Wonderful. Congratulations.
Thank you. And it's a team of a bunch of friends. Actually, all of them are from Alberta. My husband and I are the only ones from BC on it, so we're kind of the little outcasts. Yeah, that, and then I've got the blog that I try to keep up on it as much as I can. But, I don't know. I'm just kind of going along with things, just seeing where it kind of takes me. There's a female hunter contest that one of the magazines up here is holding. And what the winner will be is a representative for Franchi shotguns.
Ooh.
Yeah, the deadline for that is the end of this month, so I've been stressing trying to get a video in for that. So hopefully that pans out for me. But
well, good luck to you.
Thank you.
So let's talk a little more about Spain. Why? So, like, when people are like, yeah, I'm going hunting. Oh, where are you going hunting? I'm going to South Dakota, or, I'm going to Utah. Most people don't say I'm going to Spain. Like, what made you decide you wanted to hunt in Spain?
Well, a clothing company that I have been partnered with for the last 2 years is based out of Spain, and we've become pretty good friends with the owners. And they actually invited us to come over and hunt with them.
Nice.
Yeah, it's the first time I've ever been off of North America.
Yeah.
And it was the first time ever, traveling. So it was a lot of fun. Nerve-wracking, but a lot of fun.
Right. Did you go with a bow or with a gun?
We went with our bows just because European laws are pretty strict and Canada's laws are pretty strict around firearms. So we figured to get rid of the hassle, we just take our bows.
Stephen Vanderkeer from Facebook wanted to know what their gun laws were like as far as bringing firearms over, but since you bow hunted, did you run into any hassle bringing your bows at all?
Not at all. We didn't even need permits for them. We just checked them in as baggage, and away we went. There was no hassle at all. Where we did want to take our rifles with us, but the paperwork, there was lots of paperwork, lots of permits, and it took a lot of time to get it in. And we didn't have the time to get it in, so we just used our bows, and then our friends said if we needed to, that they had rifles there. So
sure,
it just worked out better.
Did they have a guide, or did they just take you out hunting with them?
His friend is a guide, so we were hunting with our friend and then this guide as well. And the way things work over there are a lot different than here. Like where I am, it's all public land that we hunt. Where there, they actually have to lease land from the government to have hunting rights to that area. And then whoever leases that hunting area is the only one that can hunt on it unless they give permission to other people.
That's interesting.
It was the guide's land that we were hunting. So we went for red stag and then like fallow deer. For the first part, and that was on his private hunting area. And then we went to his guiding area for Ibex.
That's awesome. Are there like regional differences to hunting them? It's like, because I mean, Spain's not that big, but can you hunt them on the west side of the country compared to the east side of the country, or what part were you hunting them in?
We were on the east side of the country. They've actually got 4 different types of Ibex there. They have the Gredos, the Basidi, the Ronda, and then the Sierra Nevada. And they all are different in sizes as well. So we were hunting the Basidi, which is on the more eastern side of the country.
That's so cool. I did not know that there were 4 different species over there. I guess I never really looked into hunting Spain because it's literally just not something that you normally, go to New Zealand or whatever. That's so cool.
Or Africa, like the most common places that people will go. Yeah. You don't really think of Spain as a big destination for hunting, but they've got quite a few animals.
That's so interesting. It's absolutely fascinating to me. So tell us, so did you have to study up on the Ibex before you went? Did you totally Google them constantly about their habits and how to hunt them, or did you just kind of leave it up to the guide to show you?
We did a little bit of research. We were thinking that they were going to be more like our mountain goat when we went there. The terrain was not nearly like it is here. No, it was more like hunting our, probably I would say, more like hunting our elk or our mule deer.
Well, okay, so let's let's talk about elevation just a little bit. Because Shane Maddox actually on Facebook asked what the terrain was like over in Spain compared to, say, British Columbia or Colorado or anything like that. Do they have a lot of, was it high elevation?
No, they're not. They don't have very high elevations. Where the chamois are, it's a little more rocky. It's a lot more like our Rocky Mountain type areas. Not as high. But where we were for the Ibex, they had some rocky hills, but they weren't really. There was nothing like BC or Colorado at all. Mm-hmm. The terrain's very dry. They don't have much for water around there. Like when we were there, I think we seen one man-made lake, and that was it.
Wow.
No creeks, no rivers, just very, very dry. It's very warm. Like in the morning, it's fairly cold, and then it gets really hot during the day.
So what sort of tactics did you use then? Did you like hunt over water holes like you do with antelope in August?
No, we would find an area that's fairly high up, or we'd sit at the bottom of some mountains, if you can call them mountains, and you'd glass. And you just sit and you'd glass and you'd glass and you'd glass and until one would pop up. They have so many ibex there, it's ridiculous.
Really?
They don't have any predators. They have predators in northern Spain. They have wolves, and I think they had bears and lynx. But where we were, there's no predators at all. So the ibex are actually overpopulated, and the only people that hunt them are the locals and hunters.
Huh.
Yeah.
That's interesting. Because, I'm all like, maybe I should go there. Everybody listening is like, I wonder if I could get off. Like, we all like a target-rich environment.
Yeah, no kidding, right?
Well, this next question comes to two gals actually on Facebook. I'll just combine them both. Okay. Actually, let's start with Kim Dalton's question. Hers was, what are the licensing rules? What did you have to go through to get tags and license to even be able to hunt in Spain?
Honestly, our guide, he handled it all.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, he went into the office and got our tags, and by law, he had to carry all the tags and licenses.
Oh, really? So it's not like you can just go to Spain and like go hunting. You have to go with a guide.
Yeah.
Yeah. I think that's pretty standard in Europe.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay, so the next two questions, like I said, I'm going to combine them. Faye Walker wants to know how difficult it is to bring your trophy and meat home. And Tom Beppler, is it legal to bring game meat into the U.S. from Spain, or must it be donated? Like Africa, you can't.
Yeah.
You can't import it. So.
As far as I'm aware, you cannot import the meat at all. We ended up donating it or eating it.
Yeah, I think that's anywhere. I don't think you can bring in any non-North American meat into the U.S.
No. Trophies, I don't know yet. We haven't gotten ours back yet.
That was going to be my next question. Did you kill anything?
Yes. I
right.
did get bags.
All right.
Yeah, I got a red stag, and then I got my ibex. I didn't get my ibex until the very last day we were there, and it was like right down to the hour.
Really?
Yeah, but I ended up switching over to a rifle because we were flying out the next morning, and we had to drive all the way back to Madrid, which was a 6-hour drive.
And you're like, what? We need to get this done.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I had actually missed a huge one with my bow the second day. My husband got to hunt the first day for ibex because I got a stag and he didn't get anything. So I gave him the first ibex the first day, and then the second day I missed a world record ibex with my bow.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I would have had the record for women's bow hunting.
Oh my gosh. Tell me about the day. Like, what kind of accommodations were you staying in? Kind of walk me through how the whole day went.
We stayed in a hotel. So in the morning, we would get up. We wouldn't get up really, for Ibex, we wouldn't get up really early.
That's awesome.
Because they bed for the night. And then so we get up and then we go for breakfast, drive out. The accommodations are like 20 minutes from the hunting area, so it wasn't bad at all. We'd all climb into the Land Rovers. They do not have trucks at all.
Really?
Yeah, we drove around in Land Rovers.
Hilarious.
Those are their hunting vehicles, yeah, SUVs, or like there were even a couple Jeeps there, but yeah. And they were, yeah, I know. When we were going around the towns and that, like, the roads are so skinny. People walk on the roads. I thought we were going to hit people. It was insane. And then, yeah, as I'm sitting there looking around, I'm like, there are no trucks. Like, you know how in Canada and the U.S., almost everybody has a truck.
Yeah, totally. Especially hunters.
Yeah, and there's none. So that was a little weird.
I wonder why.
They don't fit.
Oh, I suppose you get a big old dually diesel.
Even, like, I have a half-ton Ram, and there is no way I could drive through the cities in Spain with my truck.
Without just driving people over.
Yeah, without running people over or taking out other people's mirrors or scraping along the sides of buildings. Like, crazy.
Awesome. Oh my gosh.
But then we'd go for the afternoon. We'd hunt until we'd take our lunches with us, and then we'd hunt all until nighttime. And then we'd go back to the hotel, have dinner, and then start it all over again.
So a lot of glassing, huh?
Yeah, lots of glassing. Finding which ones you want. They're hard to judge, though, for size, especially when you've never seen them before.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Do they have like a minimum?
They don't have a minimum, but depending on the size you want will be the price you pay. Yeah, so they don't go by the Boone and Crockett or the Pope and Young system. They go by the Safari Club scoring.
Okay.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Mm-hmm.
So tell me about the one that you missed. Walk me through minute by minute. I'm interested to know.
Oh, we were driving in and we seen an Ibex bedded down on the side of one of the mountains. And we're watching him through the spot and scopes and the binos, and the guide says he's a decent one. Like, we'll go up after him. I was like, okay. So we backed all the way down to the second mountain, and we climbed up that one and walked along the ridge, and then until we got to where the valleys met. Mm-hmm. And we sat down because we seen another one, and we were in the wide open. They don't have really much for trees there. So we sat down and we watched and we glassed for a little bit. And there was one that popped out. They have oak trees, I think they're the little oak trees or something. I don't know, I can't remember, but or acorns. So they have lots of acorn trees. That's what the Ibex eat, are the acorns. Okay. And so one of them popped out of one of the trees, and they like stand up on their back feet and try to reach the very top. It's pretty cool. So when we seen this other one come out, so we're like, okay, well, there's at least two up there. There's possibly three, because the guide thought he seen another one. So he's like, okay, well, and our friend and my husband were with us. They stayed on that ridge and just watched. And we did have radios with us, but we forgot them. And then me and the guide, we went down the mountain and then back up the other mountain that the Ibex were on. And they sat and they watched. And we stalked up the side, and it's all wide open and it's all loose rock. So it was hard to stay quiet, but we managed to get up onto the top and in behind some bushes. And we're both standing there, and he's a little bit taller than me, so he looks over the bush, and he's like, oh, he's right there, and he's coming straight at us. I was like, okay, so I got ready, and the light was starting to get a little bit dim. It was starting to get close to that, I got to shoot her or call it off or anything. Yeah. And so he comes over, he's coming towards us, and he stops, and he turns broadside, and he's eating a bush. He's eating one of the acorn bushes. But I have to shoot over top of 2 bushes and have my arrow drop into him. So he ranges him. He says he's 40 yards right on. And I'm like, okay, well, that's perfect.
Yeah.
Well, I don't have the best eyes when it comes to low light.
Yeah.
So I pull back, I get lined up on him, and I let it go. And he's watching in his binos, and he says the arrow hit something. And it deflected. There was like 4 inches of a dead branch sticking up right where my arrow was going, and it hit the branch, and it went over his back, and he took off squeaking the whole way gone. But I didn't know how big it was, because I was only supposed to be shooting like just your standard Ibex.
Yeah.
And we get down off the mountain, and my husband and our friend are down at the Rovers already waiting for us. And we came down, and our friend Raphael, he looks at me, he's like, do you know what you just missed? I'm like, an Ibex? He's like, do you know what size you just missed? I was like, no, the one I'm supposed to shoot? And he goes, if you would have shot that Ibex, it would have been the woman's world record for bow hunting. I turned around, and our guide, his name is Daniel. I gave him crap for letting me shoot it that big. I was like, no, it's supposed to be a standard Ibex. What are you thinking?
Oh my gosh.
But then, of course, that's all I could think of all night.
I was just going to say, and you're almost like, it would have been great if you just didn't tell me. You could have just not told me.
Yeah, exactly. Because now all I can think about is that. Yeah.
Tell me about the one you did kill. Tell me that story.
That one, we were in a different area, and we were sitting up on a flat, kind of just like a flat plains, and then it had a canyon, and then the canyon came up into a hill, and it was covered in these oak patches. And we were sitting there glassing, and then all of a sudden we go, oh, there's an Ibex there, and it pops out, and another one, and then another one, and then another one. There was 20 Ibex that popped out, and they're out of the canyon, walking up the hill, and they're all males. So we're like, oh, okay, great. Well, we got to get over there. So we hop in the rover, and we go back, and I think it was like a 10 or 15-minute drive. We had to go back and then come back forward on the other side of the canyon. And we parked, and we get out, and we start walking, and we're walking along, and I see movement, and we were kind of up on like a rock cliff, and they were on the other side, because it dropped down, and then it went up into a hill, and they were on the hill. And I seen one of the younger ones, because they're really bright. They're like a really bright tan color, so they stand out a lot more than the older ones. So we stopped, and we're glassing, and Daniel goes, oh, there's one right there, and he's good. And I was like, okay, well, I'll get set up. And he was letting me use his rifle, which was a 300 short mag. Mm-hmm. And so him and I are out on this rock cliff, and Raphael and my husband Kyle are back in the trees watching, and Kyle's videoing. And we get set up. Well, I can't see this damn Ibex because he's black and he's gray, so he matches, and he's laying down in the shadows, so I can't see him because I have bad eyes. So I'm sitting there, And Daniel's like, he's right there. He's right there. I'm like, I can't see him. I can see the other one, but I can't see him. So I'm sitting there glassing, and Daniel's moving the rifle, getting it ready for me, while I'm trying to find this stupid Ibex laying down. And finally, I see it. I'm like, oh, there it is. Okay. So I get on the gun, and I'm in prone position, and I can't find him again. I'm like, oh, you're gonna be kidding me. So I'm sitting there with the rifle trying to find him in the scope. Oh, it's just a nightmare. I'm like, I can't see him.
That's the worst.
Oh, so after about, I think it felt like 10 minutes to me. I'm sure it was more like 30 seconds, but it felt like 10 minutes to me trying to find it in the scope. Finally, I find him, and he's still laying down. So I had to lay there and wait, propped up on my elbows on rock, on just a solid slate rock. And I think we waited for 20 minutes at least, maybe half an hour for this thing to stand up. And finally it stood up, and it started walking straight at us. And I was like, well, crap. I'm not going to take a straight-on shot at this angle. So I'm waiting and waiting. Daniel's getting antsy. He's like, shoot it, shoot it, shoot it. I'm like, I can't. And finally it came broadside, and it was coming down the hill towards us, and I took my shot, and I hit him perfectly right behind the shoulder, and he took off. And, of course, I didn't see him take off, and neither did Daniel, because when I shot, the barrel so close to the ground, it blew up a bunch of dust in our faces.
Oh, no.
So we're both sitting there wiping our eyes out, and Kyle and Raphael come out of the bush. They come out of the bush, and Kyle's the only one that's seen it run. Thank God he was there. And we were both wiping our eyes, trying to get the dust out. I'm like, did I get him? Kyle's like, you got him. I'm like, Nick, I don't think I could take another shot. Oh, so we hiked down, and we went over, and we found him. Like, he only ran probably 10 yards, and he piled up into a tree.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
You did hit him perfectly then.
Yep.
That's fantastic. That was a great story.
Just
Like so real life. Like, it's totally what us normal, super professional hunters would totally go through. We can all relate.
Oh, yeah, it was quite the trip.
Funny. Did your husband get to kill him?
Yes, he killed one with his bow on the first day.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like I said, there's tons of Ibex, and we've seen lots, but the area we were in for his was a lot more rocky, and it was a little more steep. And it was funny because our friend had to go back to Madrid for his little girl's birthday party. So it was just me and Kyle and Daniel. Well, Daniel and I hunted. We were there for 12 days total. And Daniel and I hunted the whole time together, and Kyle and Raphael hunted together the whole time. So when it was the three of us, Daniel didn't want to leave me. So there were 3 Ibex up on the top of this rocky mountain kind of thing, and we were sitting on right at the bottom of it kind of thing. And he says to Kyle, go ahead, you go. And I look at him like, I can sit here by myself. It's not like a bear is going to come and eat me. Like, I'm fine. If you want to go with him, go. He's like, no, I'll stay here. I'm like, okay. So we watched in the binos, and yeah, he took I think it was a 40-yard shot uphill, though. It was fairly steep. But he got it, and it fell down a cliff, so we had to scale down to get it.
For real? Like ropes and everything scaled down?
The way my husband went down, probably could have used ropes. Me and Daniel went the long way around to the bottom to get it. I was like, I'm not climbing down that. So, yeah, my husband says better than Billy Goat, so.
And so you went for stag and fallow deer as well?
Yes.
What were the license costs Like, because I know, like, hunting New Zealand for those species, it's expensive. Is it very expensive in Spain?
It's not too bad. So, like, the Basides Ibex, if you go for just a standard Basides, it's 4,550 euros, which works out today as 4,800 US.
Okay.
Which isn't bad because that includes your transport, it includes your meal, your room, it covers all your hunt licenses and your insurance. It covers pretty well everything.
Okay.
And then
were the red stag and the fallow deer were like add-ons?
The ibex was the main one. The stag was more of just hunting with friends. But they do red stag hunts as well. A standard red stag is $39.50. So it's probably around for 4,200 US probably. It's not bad. And that covers everything as well, right?
Yeah. That's the whole hunt.
Yeah.
All you got to do is get there.
Exactly. And flights to Spain are pretty cheap. So
really?
Yeah, like I was supposed to go to Africa in the June before we went to Spain. We went to Spain at the end of September, beginning of October. But there was no way I could afford to go to both. Africa, my plane ticket for just me would have been $3,000.
Screw that. That's crazy.
The flight for my husband and I to go to Spain and back was $2,000.
Oh shit, that's not much at all.
No, not at all. And we had one layover, and that was in Denmark.
Nice. That's actually pretty reasonable for as far as you're going.
Yeah, it's not bad at all. Like, I'd do it again. It's not bad at all. Yeah.
What do you think was like your biggest challenge as far as the hunt goes? Was it maybe planning? Was it just getting there? Was it anything during the hunt that you found really challenging?
The language barrier.
Okay, then that was one of my questions. Was there a big language barrier?
There was. Out in Madrid, some of the people speaking a little bit of English. Outside of Madrid, where all these hunting areas are, in the little towns and that, nobody speaks English. So, like, at the restaurant and stuff, the guys had to order for us because we didn't know what the waiters were saying or anything like that. Our friend Raphael, he speaks pretty good English. We had been talking with him for a year before that, so his English got pretty good. Yeah. Daniel's English was better than the other people we hung out with there. He still had some issues with understanding what you're trying to say, kind of thing.
Yeah.
It wasn't too bad. There was a lot of misunderstandings. But,
really?
Yeah. During the fallow deer hunt, there was a misunderstanding between him and I ended up not getting the fallow deer.
How so? What happened?
We were hunting for red stag, and we were heading back to the truck, and I stopped him because I seen movement off in the corner, and we were coming down off the hill and into a bit of a forested area, and I seen movement coming, and so we stopped, and there was some fallow deer coming. So I got the gun right. I had the gun. I got the gun ready, and I was sitting waiting for them to come, and I was watching them, and a couple of little ones went by, a couple of females, and then a nicer one went by, and he thought I was going to shoot that one, but I had seen in the back a bigger one coming. So I was waiting for that one, but he didn't see it. He thought this other decent one was the last one coming in the herd because there's quite a bit of a gap between the two groups.
Mm-hmm.
And so I'm waiting, and he's like, shoot it. And I'm like, no, I'm waiting. And he's like, no, shoot it. And so he kept moving my gun, trying to get me to shoot the one he thought I was trying to get. And I'm like, no, it's right there. And then I had to get reset up, and it they seen us move and they busted out. After he was like, "I'm sorry, I didn't see those ones."
Aw, that's a bummer.
Yeah, I was like, "Oh well, it's fine."
It happens.
Yep.
So do you think your number one tip for anyone looking to hunt ibex in Spain would be to learn Spanish?
Yeah, if you could learn even basic Spanish,
Right.
it would help.
Some key phrases. No, there's a bigger one coming.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, if you get a little bit, even if you go and you don't know any, you get around pretty good. I know he's got guides that work for him too that speak English as well, so
Yeah.
You could go there not knowing a lick of Spanish and still be fine.
Well, what a fun story is. These are like the best interviews when you get to, because, I mean, not that I have anything against whitetail. I'll listen to whitetail stories all day long, but this is so different. It's so interesting.
Yeah.
I appreciate you wanting to come on and share the stories with me and my listeners. We all appreciate it.
Oh, thank you. It was a lot of fun.
Well, why don't you tell the listeners where they can find out more about you and read your blog?
I have Facebook. You can find me on there. It's Huntress Nikita. And then I also have Instagram and Twitter, which are under my Canada Huntress. And my blog is called Rocky Mountain Outdoor Adventures. Thank you for having me on.
And that'll do it. Thanks so much for listening. Don't forget to find the show on iTunes. Just search for Hunt Fish Travel Podcast. Hit the subscribe button. You can also follow me on social media. Just go to huntfishtravel.net and click on the social media icon of your choice. The only one that's not listed there is Periscope. You can always find me on Periscope. Same Twitter handle, @CarrieZilka. Until next time.